My next guest is a mixed martial artist from New York City. She's been with me from the very beginning, and she is a very good friend of mine. I'm excited to talk to her. Her name's Melissa Balic, Tiger Schulmann's MMA queen. Welcome, Tiger Schulmann's MMA queen. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, my friend.
I back.
You are back, and since I talked about Tiger Schulmann's, let's stay on the theme. Two of your guys fought yesterday. Solomon fought, Shane fought. Watching your guys fight, is that stressful?
I mean, I definitely throw in a little prayer to all of my teammates that fight. I'm like, oh my God, please like protect them, make sure they're okay. I see like my teammates that have kids too. And I'm like, oh my God, protect them and their families, like, which I know they're going to be fine and they're going to dominate. But I know what it feels like to go out there and to have family at home and have that worry a little bit, but you're going to be okay in the whole sense. So I always wish them the best, and I've seen them struggle. So yeah, I root for them.
For Solomon in particular, like we know his backstory a little bit, the Contender Series, that whole mess of what that was, and for the past 2 years
Yeah.
since that fight, he's been on the regional scene. He's taken tough fights. He's had some ups and downs. He gets this last minute opportunity. He goes out there and like he knocks out his opponent very violently, which doesn't surprise me because that's what I think about Solomon. But for him to like get that moment on that big stage, like when you're watching that, knowing the type of work that guy puts in the gym, like what was that feeling like for you just watching it unfold as a spectator?
Watching it unfold is an amazing thing because I am also one that's had closed doors in my life. And him and I have always related to that. And that door had closed on him. And I know that it broke his heart a lot, it just because you want to be in the UFC. It's a big name. That's what you're aiming for and you're reaching for. And I've had my closed doors too. And to see him struggle and to be redirected to something even better shows that even if a door closes on you, there's always something better for you. And, I'm very, very happy for him. He's an inspiration to everyone.
In the couple years that I've known you, like we went from on the competitive kickboxing circuit. And I don't think like we said it when we were recording, but you're like, the plan is to go to MMA. I promise you, I
That
will eventually.
plan. And we're here. We teleported.
We teleported. So let me ask you that, like moving into the MMA world, like what has been the most challenging part about it? Like I know you're a complete mixed martial artist. I know you wrestle. I know you do jujitsu and all that other stuff. Like I've seen your reels. I know what you're capable of. But like when you're on
Thank
the competitive circuit and you're actually like training for an MMA fight, it's a totally different thing. What have you learned about yourself over the past three fights? And what's been the most challenging thing about it?
Well, I just couldn't wait to put it all together. The challenging part is in your mind. You have to do boxing for an hour, then you've got to wrestle, then you've got to think about jujitsu, then you've got to think about takedown defense, then you've got to think about your striking. Then you got to think, I got to be in shape. I gotta, MMA is it's not just one thing, and that's what I had to learn. I adjusted really fast, so it was the perfect timing.
What has been the most like rewarding fight of your career thus far? Because so we've had a couple of them, and each of these are a story. But like, what's the one that I don't know? Maybe what's the one that's like the most notable one to you so far?
There's so many notable ones and so many crazy stories, especially like starting off now. I have the craziest things that have happened on this journey, and it just goes to show where I'm headed.
Mhm.
But what I can say is the craziest and most outstanding fight would be the last one.
Okay,
It
let's talk
it
about the last one because there was a lead up to that. And for people who don't know, I watched this fight. You fought on the Flex Fighting
Thank you.
Series against a tough opponent, like in April. That fight doesn't go your way, and then all of a sudden, like I'm on Instagram one day and I'm like, holy shit, she's fighting again. Like 5 weeks later, I'm like, what the hell's going on? So let's start from there. Like, talk me through that fight. Like, what happened? You didn't get that result that you wanted, but like, what happened to make you say yes to a fight like 5 weeks later? Because that's crazy.
I don't know. I honestly, one thing about me is that I'm always going to trust my gut and intuition. That last fight in April definitely happened for a reason for me.
Mm.
I'm not making any excuses, but I just wasn't feeling it that day. It was so weird. When I stepped onto the canvas, I looked at the blood on the floor and I'm just like, why do I not feel on edge?
Mhm.
Why do I not feel nervous right now? Why am I so calm? And then the fight started, I'm like, huh? And it was like over. And I'm like, okay. And then I sat back. I I was upset for a little bit, only because, you don't want to lose like that. It sucks.
Mhm.
And I got a phone call from the Flex matchmaker and he was like, "Hey, I got something in Florida." I'm like, "All right, now I gotta go get my flight, my tickets, I gotta get my coach advice." He's like, "No, no, 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 no. It's taken care of. Everything's taken care of." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, and I got you an opponent." I looked it up. I'm like, "All right, she's tough. Okay, cool. Let's do it." And I'm like, I'm not gonna sit at home and be sad for like 2 months and wait for another fight.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go fight and get my redemption because that's what I'm all about. I'm about the redemption. When things go south, I like to go get my, greatness. That fuels me.
Was there anything?
So yeah,
Was there anything from like a technique perspective, or is it all just purely mental based off of the last fight heading into the Florida fight?
she was very good at jujitsu, and I did not train that part. I trained for her wrestling.
Mhm.
I knew she was a wrestler type, but she was a wrestler type that sets it up for her grappling. And things got like a little chaotic, blah, 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 personal life, all that.
Mhm.
Throw it in the garbage. It's fine. I finished the fight and I got this opportunity, and I'm like, I need to show everybody how great I am. That last fight, I wasn't able to show everybody my amazing kicks,
Mhm.
my boxing, everything that I've been working on. So I'm going to take this fight and I'm going to show everybody. And I did.
Yeah, you did. And there's a lot of things about it that I saw. Obviously, when I think of you, like I think of striking, like right away. That's the first thing I think about. But there are other things that like make you show that you have really evolved as like as a comprehensive martial artist. How happy were you with that most recent performance?
I was very happy because it also showed me my star power.
Hmm.
I'm not from Florida. And when I tell you, when I went there and I walked out, the whole crowd was cheering for me. My opponent that was her hometown. They were screaming out Static because they read it on my shorts. My family was at home watching my fight. So having that whole crowd who doesn't even know me, the only people I had with me were Lyman and his girlfriend, Mika. And they supported me. But I didn't know the whole crowd was rooting for me, and that just showed my star power.
You go out there, you fight in Florida, and then you get that one back. Like you get it back. We're back in the win column. Like when you're
I
going back,
I was itching to get back in the win column. Like, no way, this is not happening. But that last fight also pushed me to like up level my jujitsu game too. I want to. I don't have to be, purple belt and jujitsu, but I need to know how to defend all that like even better. I have a different style of fighting, but yeah, I've definitely up leveled from that fight, and it
so
was a gift.
so like moving forward with you, Melissa, like I look at you and I kind of like think of like an in-betweener. Like I'm like, okay, like I can see her at 115 pounds. I can see her at 120 pounds. I can see her at 125 pounds. I don't know anything about above that, but like you have like a range of different like weight classes that you could potentially belong in. And for you, does it just depend on like the opponent and the opportunity, or do you kind of have in your mind like what weight class you want to be a part of moving forward?
Well, that was my first time doing strawweight. I've done catch weight at 120 for a title fight, like kickboxing, but that was my first time at strawweight.
And how did you
But
feel?
I don't think it really matters, honestly. I think if you're more technically good than a person, you can be.
So for you, it's just really a matter of like you're not like it doesn't matter as far as like your weight class. You like you don't have any fixation on like flyweight or strawweight. It's whatever.
I mean, I like flyweight because I don't have to cut weight.
Here we are. It's June, right? We got 7 more months of 2023 left. Like what do you have like cooked up for the rest of this year?
So I had a fight booked for July 15th. It was a title fight for Flex Fight Series of Stereo Garden, and it fell through yesterday. The poster came out. It was a great poster, as usual, by Chris, Flex Matchmaker. And she's injured. She backed out with her speedy recovery, but it would have been such a good fight because she's more stand up. And it would have been so exciting because she was also a former Tiger Schulmann's girl, too.
Oh,
It would
cool.
have, yeah, but things happen for a reason, and there might be something better in store for me. So I'm just training every day and working very hard on my craft. I've up leveled so much, and these boxers came in from the boxing school, and Ray had actually put us on and brought them to the gym, and we've been going to their gym as well, Green Lawn, I think. Amanda Serrano also trains there, and these girls are professional boxers. I've been working with them, and when I tell you I've up leveled so much, my hands got cleaner, my timing's been better. I've been working on my jiu-jitsu, my wrestling, and I can't wait to see what's in store, honestly. Maybe it's time to go pro. Who knows?
When you look at the top women that are in the UFC, like you look at how the women's MMA landscape has evolved over these past few years, like what does it take to like get to that level? Like what does it take to compete with the best and to beat the best in your mind?
You have to become the best. You have to become the best, and that's where I'm headed. That's what I want to do. I put my mind in this craft every single day. I don't take any breaks. I get yelled at for taking breaks. My manager is always yelling at me, do you ever take time off? No. It's an obsession, and I think that that's a gift that I've been given to be obsessed with something like this, and I'm ready to reach that level.
I'm ready for you to when the time is right for you. I won't ask you like what your plan is because I'm sure that's an evolving conversation and stuff in terms of when does it make sense to go pro. I'm sure that's something that you talk with your coaches about very often. But I will share with you one thing, and it was something Solomon told me about you. This is probably about a year, or maybe even longer ago. And I asked him, we weren't recording. I asked him, I was like, tell me one thing about her that most people don't know. Like, what's one thing? Like, if I don't train at Tiger Schulmann's MMA and I'm watching her fight or I'm looking at everyone that's in the training room, what's like one thing about her specifically that most people wouldn't know? And the one thing he told me was it was your work ethic. He's like, when I first met her, I didn't know. Like, I was thinking to myself, like, this chick doesn't really want it. We'll see. And and
That's
then
what I was thinking.
and then he told me he was just like, I promise you, there's nobody that puts in the work like she does. Like she is like the hardest worker out of anyone I know. Like she's in there every single day doing it. And so that's what I would say about her. So that's a fun fact for everyone that's here.
Him too. He's made so many sacrifices.
What are some of the things that are interesting about you that people may not know that you would be comfortable sharing? Like, what are some of the things? Like, I know that you're a gym rat. I know that MMA is like your life. I know that you have a life outside of all this. But like, what are some of the things that you do to give yourself like some sort of like balance? Is there something that you do outside of MMA or training that brings you enjoyment in your life?
I like to go hiking. There's a hiking trail in Jersey that I visit. I
Mhm.
love reading. I love journaling. I'm a very spiritual person.
Give me 3 books that you're reading right now, or some that are on your shelf that you really liked reading.
To write on the here. It's Martha Beck, The Way of Integrity. Been
Okay.
reading that book. I really love The Alchemist. That's one of my favorite books. And The Warrior of Light as well. I'll just like open them up when I'm bored or like want some inspiration on a random page, like, oh, and I'm like, oh, you know.
I love reading personally. That's a fun. I'm gonna edit that out though because I don't want people to know anything about me.
I don't know. I just like spending a lot of time alone. People think they see this beautiful girl and they're like, "Oh, you definitely have like options and you go out and you this." I'm like, "No, I spend my time alone." And actually, I like hiking and reading books and journaling, and I love the beach too. I go to the beach by myself.
Hey, I have a very simple thing that I like doing. This I will share. This I won't edit out. I like walking my dog. I get that like puts me in a zone, and
Yeah.
I like walking her before I do interviews because it helps me think, right? So like I have a rough idea. I have some notes I write down for you and anyone else. It's just something I do. Like it's just I just start writing down everything I know about you off the top of my head. And then I go on a walk and then I start thinking about like, okay, well, like, what are the things that I would want to know? Like, what are some of the things that I think other people would want to know? And it's very simple. And I'm walking around and I'm listening to music, but all I'm thinking about are like, okay, what's my next show? And what are some of the things that I could ask to make it interesting? And then
That's awesome.
and then I lock it down on my walk, and then I come in here, and then I talk to you. So that's a fun fact about me. I've never said that to anybody. Maybe I'll still
Which
edit.
is why I like going hiking, clear your head.
Yeah.
I mean, I want fighting to be on my mind 24/7, but
Mhm.
if I do, then, then I don't want to drive myself crazy.
Well, so
But it is on my mind all the time.
it's funny because like I also think it's like you hit a certain level and there's a part where it's like you want to stay plugged into the machine, but there's only like so you can only take it so far. So for me,
Yeah.
it
That's where I am right now. You can only do so much. You need to enjoy yourself.
mhm,
I like spending time with my family too, like seeing my nephew.
yeah, I think that's like really important to like have interests that have nothing to do with what it is that you're so passionate about. So for me, like people always ask me like, "Oh, do you listen to Ariel Hawani?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, are you an Ariel hater?" I'm like, "No, I'm not a hater, but I don't listen to him." And
Yeah,
people really like that throws people back. They're like, "Oh my God, you're an MMA podcaster. We don't listen to Ariel Hawani." I'm like, "No, like
because you're listening to Mom's Basement.
yeah, I'm worried about what I'm
I
doing.
met Mommy at WrestleMania.
I'm sure he's a very nice man, but nothing against him. But I don't. It's nothing against him, but for me, it's just kind of like. But I'm doing my thing. Like I don't like he's doing his thing, and that's good. I wish him all.
Yeah, maybe you guys have a fight one day,
You know.
like Zuckerberg and Elon Musk a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know though, but
We got you. I'll be in your corner.
would Shane allow that? Because I think Shane's like on the red side. I think Shane would probably try to like be on Ariel's side. So I don't know. I don't know. You know what? Like we could put a game plan together. I had faith that you could train me up. We'd hit that
I
up.
got
You know,
you.
we'll do some wheel kicks or I don't know. I'll put myself in your hands. You'll be like the controller and control me like a video game.
Anytime, whenever
I'm a
you
good
want.
listener. I'm a good listener. I'm very coachable, Melissa. But what are some of the things that you needed to get out there? Was there anyone that you needed to thank or any companies that you needed to talk about before I let you go?
Just thank my team. And we're working very hard right now to get me to that level. We're putting everything because I think that my team knows that I have a lot of potential and star power. People love seeing me fight. Explains the following, and I've gotten so much reach lately through Twitter. I blew up on TikTok as well. So I'm excited for what's to come.